And away we go. Hi, everybody. It's time for Three Guys Before the Game. We're all present and assembled. Senator is here, and the Dean, a.k.a. Hoppy Kercheval, once again joins us from the Kercheval Studios at an undisclosed location.
I had a dream last night. I had one of those things you put on your leg when you're not supposed to leave the house.
Yeah, one of those bracelets?
Yeah, one of those.
I mean, hey, you know what they say? You do the crime, you do the time, baby doll.
Yeah.
This is the way that it works. We're ready to go. We've got it's an all-alphabet show.
What's that mean?
TCU recap, BYU preview. Just doing a bunch of letters. That's what we're going to do. Breaking it down. Victory over the Horned Frogs. And now a trip to Utah for the Mountaineers. And it comes your way, thanks in part to Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They do not take no for an answer. You try to give them a no, I'll crack you right in the side of your head. Well, I don't know about that. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart, get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for the details. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans, they sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. We had sunny weather earlier this week. I mean, it was doggone boating time.
It was real close. Real close.
And I was ready to run out there, put a life preserver on, just jump in the water. Three Guys brought to us by Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's biscuit. A lot of people are starting to get a little cocky, by the way, on these Tudor's biscuits.
What does that mean?
Well, we've kind of said, we could eat 2 of them. I think a guy on Textual Healing today says he could go 3.
Ooh.
That's bold.
How big a boy are you now? Three Guys brought to us by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. Spreads on Stats coming up. Breaks down TCU, looks ahead to the BYU experience. All right, good to be back with y'all. West Virginia getting ready for its final regular season road trip, too, in the state of Utah.
It's a doozy.
It's a dandy. First ever game in Provo for the Mountaineers. I don't think we've ever played at Utah. We've played Utah on neutral floors, and a lot going on there, obviously, with the coaching change this week. We'll get into that a little bit.
You know what Utah reminds me of?
What?
Being a kid.
Yeah.
Battling, convincing, arguing, debating to stay up late for the final NCAA tournament game that would kick off from the West Coast. And I have not confirmed this, Hoppy. I think it was every single game for about 25 straight years in the tournament took place at the Huntsman Center in Utah, and Gary Bender was the announcer.
Yeah, Gary Bender.
Every time. I absolutely, when I think of Utah, that is my lasting memory of watching that as a kid. And wasn't it always the West Coast NCAA tournament game?
24 years in a row. Gary Bender was a good dude. Like, people don't even remember Gary Bender now because Jim Nance took over for Gary Bender.
Gary Bender was excellent.
He was the voice of the tournament.
He was.
We interviewed him in Arizona for the Hot Rod Hundley documentary.
Right.
And he was very, very nice.
Yeah.
That's
really my memory hop as we get ready to head to Utah.
Yeah, get ready to head to Utah. Of course, historic conference rivals, Utah and BYU, and a lot of history there with those conference.
When you talk Mountaineer basketball, I think BYU and Utah would be the first couple of names that pop up.
Wild.
You guys better get on the road. I mean, you got to get way out there, and you got to travel through Utah.
And how about there's a ton of storylines on this. BYU's as hot as any team in the country. Utah, it's bizarre what's going on there, and there's a West Virginia connection with Josh. Well, by the way, West Virginia battling for an NCAA tournament spot here. There is a lot happening coming up in this 5-day road swing.
Absolutely.
Which just in itself is a story. You know, the old ESPN intro into the trailer for a 30 for 30 is, what if I told you a basketball team that did not have one returning player from the previous season that had won 9 games, with 3 regular season games remaining in the following season, is right now locked into the NCAA tournament. They have an opportunity to double last season's win total with one more victory. Like that, I guarantee you, we would have shouted someone down in October if they came to us and said, I tell you what, West Virginia's going to be in the NCAA tournament this year, and it won't even be close. Won't even be a bubble. It won't even be close. We would have went. What are you on, right?
And again, every time you always have to add the and you would lose what was going to be your best player of the year 8 games into that season.
Yes,
and that win that you're talking about might come against a team that is coached by the coach who coached West Virginia last year, who was hired as an assistant, but now is the head coach because the coach got fired. Now, and I know we'll talk about this, but I think, good Josh Eilert is the right guy to step up. But the bad part, I think, is, we're very fond of Josh Eilert and the job he did here at West Virginia, but he's going to probably have to look for another job because the head coach got fired. But he's the guy that's going to have to bring him through the end of the year.
He is, and I've gotten a bunch of questions from folks that rightfully so feel just horrible about Josh getting knocked, right? The staff getting blown up here just 1 year after he got there. The good news is he did sign a 2-year contract. So at least monetarily, he will be making another year of salary from Utah. And obviously, I think it will be very important for him to jump right back in and get another job. It's not one of those deals where you're just going to sit out a season. I don't know if there's an offset or whatever. But anyway, the good news is from just a financial standpoint is that he'll make money. He's got a 2-year deal that they have to honor. Good. By the way, it's costing the Utahs $5 million American dollars to fire their coach, Craig Smith, right now.
That's a second wow to the whole thing.
$5 million American dollars is what they're going to go like, okay, see you later.
For a program that needs to put some more resources behind it, as really everybody does, that was a surprising move, man. That's a lot of money there to make a change on a team that won some games.
Was it because they have won some games? Was it because of two things? One is that they're second now. They're second to BYU, and that's viewed very disparagingly in Utah. And you can't be behind BYU, number one, and number two. If you had made the decision for whatever reason to fire him, you're probably better off doing it now, right? As opposed to in case if you want to fire him, you want to do it now as opposed to, well, what if they make a run and then you fire him? Then it looks worse.
Correct.
Right?
They we'll get all the intel once we get into. We'll put our feet on the ground, Hoppy. Kind of like you.
Okay, you'll find out.
What do they call that? Gumshoe reporting? Is that what that is, or what is it?
That's it.
Listen, I don't think you need it in this situation.
Here's the deal.
I don't think you need anybody. I don't think you need anybody to tell you what just happened there. That's pretty clear. If you've been around this, you know what just happened.
Go ahead.
Well, the AD wanted to make a change, and he was going to make a change, and then they went and won 2 games. And they went, I can't make a change after we just beat Kansas, the historical program in this league. I'll wait to see if you lose to Kansas State. Well, geez, you beat Kansas State. Well, I can't do it. Or just hold on here a second. Oh, you lost to UCF. Boom, fire, boom, make a change.
You think if they
I've had nobody tell me that. That is just my perception of being around this for a long time. It appeared clear this is something that they wanted to change, and they picked a time in which to do it, because if this team did go on a run, then it'd be hard to make that change.
Yeah. You think that if they beat UCF, but they were trailing in their next game at halftime, he would have fired them at halftime of the next game? Just, hey, listen, this thing's not going well.
Because, and again, we're not watching their day-to-day, so I don't know what goes on their day-to-day. But that's a team coming into this league for its first year, which is a difficult transition. I don't care that you've been in the Pac-12 that was a Power 5 league. I don't care. It's a different style of play. It's a different league. It's a lot of travel. That team winning 7 games at the point in which Craig Smith got fired, well, I thought they were having a pretty decent year.
I agree.
In my opinion.
So I read the thing, it was either in The Athletic, I think it was The Athletic today, pretty good story about what they think is going to happen there. They think that Utah already probably has their guy, and it's going to be a professional model that they will try to go, an NBA-esque model. And one of the names, although he probably doesn't get it, is the guy that West Virginia played against in 1998, which is looked at. Remember, they went to the Final Four that year when they beat West Virginia in the Sweet 16 in Anaheim, Andre Miller, who had a really good pro career. But there's another...
He played forever in the league.
Yes, he did. There's another dude that's currently on the BYU staff, which just left the Utah staff to go to BYU. They think he's got an NBA background. They think that's going to be the cat that probably gets it.
It would make some sense, right? BYU just went the NBA model, plucked an assistant from the NBA and ran it that way. So we'll see. Yeah. All right, that's enough on that.
Yeah, we'll get in more. Coming up, we'll talk about TCU coming up. What?
Welcome to the Utah podcast.
Yeah.
We're talking Utes.
3 guys before the Utah game.
Yeah. I am looking forward to being there. I've been to Salt Lake twice, and I had one of the great restaurant experiences of my life
Really?
That's in Salt Lake. So I'm going to go back there.
Well, you're ahead of me. I went once for a convention. Not sure I went outside more than 10 minutes total.
Yeah.
Never been to Utah. Never been to the great state of Utah. I'd like to get there sometime.
Best laid out city in the world.
Oh, my.
Really?
That's a strong statement.
They put a grid down. And the thing is like a Swiss watch. You don't need a map. They just gridded the thing.
Well, you know there are other places with grids.
This is a grid. Oh, no. I'm aware. No.
The only city in America.
I'm going to tell you something. Only city in the world with a grid. Went there, best in the world.
Let me tell you something. I went to a grid conference once. Geneva. They said, I said, where's the greatest grid? Salt Lake City. I said, been there. So they have to agree with you.
They said there's only one person in the grid conference because there's only one city with a grid. So there's one person in that room.
I tell you what makes DC's grid just.
DC's the worst.
It laughs at Northwest.
That's because DC's in a circle.
Yeah, I understand. Well, so Utah is cleaning things up. And if you want to clean things up, you want to refresh, you want to hydrate, if you're a business owner, do something great for your folks. You know, it's one thing to say, hey, here's a koozie. Hope you enjoy that. And a bumper sticker, hey, I work here and I'm happy. Why don't you give them something that lasts every single day? Give them a water machine in your building that they can use. Stay happy, stay hydrated. It's just a great add-on here from Comax Business Systems, our folks there. They've got these awesome new water cooler systems that produce awesome, cold, refreshing water, hot water, and ice. So you're not lugging around plastic bottles, bringing in, or those 5-gallon jugs. You don't need it. Contact Comax Business Systems if it comes to any kind of equipment. And now these new water systems, ask them about that I-12 water cooler. I mean, we're talking 44 pounds of ice every day. I mean, even if you don't use it at work, like take 12 pounds home with you. You'll find something to do with it. It's Comax Business Systems. Visit them at comaxwv.com. Start off with Hoppy's Obvious Observations. West Virginia was the winner over TCU since the last time we got together. What you got?
What I have is I was searching for a word to describe what happened, and I came up with cathartic. February has been a very difficult month with close losses, with not shooting well, with not having a full 40 minutes, frustration at the line, not getting looks at the free throw line. Every game we were talking about something. And this game provided psychological relief because it was all there. After the first 5 points scored by TCU, West Virginia goes on the 18-0 run, dominates the game, shoots 52%, equals TCU in rebounds, gets 10 steals, gets transition points. Darren DeVries said, quote, to play for a full 40 minutes, that's what we were most satisfied with. So that's what you got. I mean, you got a full 40 minutes where everything worked out, and Brad will break down more of the specifics on that. And also, there was a moment in that game that I think symbolized what is really enjoyable about this team.
What was that? What was it?
Well, it was in the second half. You're up 20 and 12 minutes to go or something. There's a loose ball, and Andre dives on the court for the ball.
Oh, yeah.
And then calls a timeout. And DeVries rushes out. The team gets around him. I mean, you would think he just scored the winning touchdown when all he did was dive for this loose ball. But to me, that was emblematic of the character of this team and how they felt with the way they were playing. So much positive out of this game. Cathartic.
That's wonderful. I think a perfect word. Couldn't find one better than that. You know what's also really nice about that win? You had just got boat raced. 73-51 on Saturday in Lubbock, right? That could leave a scar. That could leave like some wounds, mental wounds, and go, what are we doing? For them to come out and to just absolutely all gas, no brakes, that's really emblematic of this team. Got to compliment these guys.
Good mental toughness. I do think the first half at Texas Tech did help you, though. I think there was a lot to build upon. I know that score got away from you, but that was not indicative of that game, in my opinion. So, yeah, I agree with their mental toughness. I also think it was just nice, guys. You had to have it. It was as must win as you get in college basketball at the Power 4 level when there's really not a ton of absolute must wins. That was right up there. You needed to have that or you were really going to be in the corner. And West Virginia not only came out and just snuck by and got a win, absolutely led that game start to finish. Only trailed for like 3 minutes in that game, and that was really early when it was kind of a clunky start there, and then they got it together and just dominated that game. It was one of the most complete games that we've seen all season. I'll get into some numbers in that when we get in the spreads on stats part, but that was really impressive. That was an elite defensive performance across the board. You got it from multiple guys as well on the defensive end, and as we say so often with this team, great defense and great energy and effort on the defensive end generally leads to good offense. It did. This was an elite offensive performance for West Virginia as well. And it was one of those, I'll get into these numbers, guys, but we talked about the last 3 games, you were getting all these open shots and you just couldn't hit them. Man, you hit them the other night. You hit them the other night. You got a lot of looks and a lot of guys, and they banged them.
And on that point, Brad, Javon Small said after the game, we shot the ball with confidence. Now, you're a former athlete, baseball and basketball.
High-level athlete. High-level athlete, Hoppy, please.
The confidence part.
What about confidence?
Yeah, I mean,
is that what you're asking about it?
Yeah,
and I think the thing about it, I mean, isn't it one of the keys to life in every aspect, your level of confidence? But I think on the basketball floor and athletically, you try a lot of times as coaches. Many coaches try and instill that and try and put the confidence there. And really the only thing that gives you confidence is when you perform and you do it. And this had been a group that had moments when it had done it throughout the year. So it's in there, but it needed to see a couple shots go in. And we've talked about this many times. We've talked about it with Darren. Why is it contagious, both good and bad? Why is making shots contagious? Why is missing shots contagious? Why is oftentimes in baseball stringing together hits and having a big inning contagious versus you can't seem to get a hit? It just is. And this was a team, you're right, Hop, that had a lot of confidence when it got the ball, and none more so than Javon Small. And we'll get into him here in just a second, but he was unguardable the other night. Hop, I said the other night, apologies to Dominique Wilkins, but Javon was a human highlight film the other night. I mean, he made some moves, and quite frankly, as good as he was scoring, it might have been most impressive on passing. How many passes did he have, Tony, that we just went, wow, how did that get through there?
He's had a couple games in a row now where he makes passes that have eyes on them. You go like,
what, he had 10 assists? He had double-double, 10
He had 10 assists and 23 markers. Here's why, as a Mountaineer fan, you should be happy, and I don't want to jump ahead in our lives, but you should be like really excited about this program because this will start to become the norm rather than the exception. So they're going to always guard when Darren DeVries is the coach, right? So this is the defense you're going to get year in and year out. And then as time goes on, you'll get more numbers on your roster. You'll get more shooters on your roster. I'm not saying they're going to make 11, but they're probably going to make 7 plus, 8 plus during the course of a game. And some games they'll do better than that. Going forward, you're going to win a lot of games.
That's a good example of it the other night. Those guys were all playing at a really high level. There was movement. There was ball movement. There were shots going in. There was extra pass. There was transition when you needed it. There was control pace when not. You had defensive pressure. You had it on ball pressure. I mean, they pretty much did everything the other night. That was a great illustration of what the thing will look like moving forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. All right, Spreads on Stats is coming up in just a couple of shakes. What do you say we stay on the topic of water? As I mentioned earlier, there were a couple of days this week where Mother Nature said, psst, psst, and you're looking around going like, where's that noise coming from? Mother Nature's going like, hey, I know, I've been jacking you pretty much since December, making you think there's no such thing as a pretty day anymore. Let me give you a little flashback. She came in with sun, and she came in with warm temperature. You know that kind of sun that kind of hits you in the face, and it's not hot, but it just makes you feel good. Like that vitamin D screaming, right? So what that's telling you is, folks, we're getting ready. Not for boating season. We're getting ready for Lou Wendell season. Lou Wendell Marine Sales, located in St. Albans, the #1 pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Now 50 years they've been in this thing. 50 years. That's a lot of anchors, right?
50.
That's a lot of anchors. And they are lined up with Avalon, who makes the premier pontoon boat manufactured in the state of Michigan. So if you're a pontooner, there they are. If you take a look, and for those of you that are watching on the video side of things here, they're lined up inside their location. You can check them out online at LouWendellMarineSales.com. Avalon boats plus their G3 John boats as well. You name it, They've got it, and they are giddy because as February turns to March, they know it's only a matter of weeks before people get that itch. You know, our buddy Steve Dunlap, huge boating guy, like he probably doesn't sleep now because he can hear the birds a little bit more. So check it out at LouWendellMarineSales.com. You ready to do a little spreads on stats?
Let's go.
Get the numbers, find out why, what happened.
So I check the numbers. We'll just go right to the numbers. Here comes a heater.
Let's jump into the analytics portion of the show.
Ready?
Spreads on Stats is brought to us by Conley CPA Group. They do provide you with value beyond numbers. They're a full-service public accounting firm, consultation, serving clients across West Virginia and beyond. It's their 40th year of operation. So we got Lou Wendell at 50. We got Conley at 40. You know what that means? We do business with folks like Hoppy. They've stood the test of time. 50, 40, 50. Hoppy's 70. So anyway.
Held up better than I have.
Yeah, and so they can outsource your accounting. If you have a business and you say, don't have time, don't want to deal with the accounting, they'll do that. They can outsource your CFO services and more. Visit them if you need some help with your taxes and your business. Conley CPA Group. Can I ask a question before you start?
Sure.
How many unguarded catch and shoots do we have?
Just hang on, I'll get to it.
See, that's my favorite. That's my favorite.
I got to work into it. There's an order to the unveiling of the numbers here.
Ultimate control.
Peel it back.
Ultimate control freak. See, he won't give me what I want right off the bat. Go ahead.
Oh, you can ask whatever question you want. Doesn't mean I have to answer it. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Let's roll. Just take top level stuff here, and then I will get right into the unguarded catch and shoots. This was an elite defensive performance, as I mentioned, Hop. If you take the defensive rating, which is basically your points allowed per 100 possessions, if the season ended today and West Virginia had that performance, it would sit in the 92nd percentile defensively.
Wow.
Really good. Which, no surprise, this team's a top 10 defensive team when you look at some of the metrics. So that's not a surprise, but they actually came to play hard and right from the start, guys. And we'll get into Sincere Harris specifically, but he again set the tone. He was fantastic out front and caused absolute havoc and chaos for those TCU guards that were so good in Fort Worth. Just absolutely shut them down, and it continued all night. So we'll get back to that, but great defensive performance. On the offensive side, their effective field goal percentage, which counts threes as worth more than twos, which they are. So it kind of combines the number of twos and threes and gives you an effective field goal percentage, came out at 63%, which if the season ended today, that would sit in the 90th percentile national. Offense and defense.
Right.
I mean, it was complete on both ends.
That's what they call a winner.
And here's the last piece on offense. 1.2 points per possession overall on the game. I reference this stat a lot, Hop. The team that's currently leading the nation sits at 1.1 points per possession. West Virginia was 1.2 for the game. So that shows you just the level at which they were operating on both ends. In the first meeting between these teams, 52% of West Virginia's shots were threes, and they made only 27% of them. On Tuesday, 50% of the shots were threes. They made 42% of them. So if you want to look for an offensive stat that drove you, it was that particular one. And here's why, guys. We had talked a lot about open shots over the last 3 games. So West Virginia had 22 catch and shoot attempts against TCU. 11 of them unguarded, 50%. So actually a little bit less than what they'd been averaging, but still a big number, 50%. But here's what happened. You got 21 points off those unguarded shots, almost 2 points per possession on those. That's the second most points off unguarded catch and shoots on the entire season in its totality, 21 points. It ties the Baylor game, which also just makes you that made me more mad when I had to type that it tied the Baylor game. And the only one that had more than that was in Arizona when Arizona couldn't find Tucker DeVries, and he was launching from the pool, the shark slide, and the other end.
Casino. Hit one from the casino. Yeah.
The beach.
You were going to ask something there?
That's what I was going to ask you. Who was which team did you make the most? And it was Arizona.
So, and then this is important. And again, these are kind of numbers that would back up what your eyes told you or what you think you probably saw. Javon had 3 unguarded catch and shoots. He had 9 points off those. All threes, right? 3-point possession. He is now 50% from 3 when unguarded, which is top 10% in points per shot nationally.
Yeah, I think so.
It feels like he's 95% on those.
Who does that?
When he squares and gets open.
Who does that?
Who does that what?
Who does that?
Goes 50% from 3?
Yeah, what kind of players do that?
Pros.
Pros.
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? Pro's like, oh, you're going to give me this shot? Here, I'll drain it right in your eyes. See you later. That's the separator right there.
But here's another one, and we've said this a bunch. When Joe Yesufu has a good scoring game, that a win usually follows that.
Yes.
He had 5 of his 7 catch and shoots were unguarded. He got a lot of open looks, and that's why he's in the lineup. He comes in when you feel like you need a little scoring spark, and that's what he's there to do. Stick those open jumpers. He had 9 points on those 5, so almost 2 points per possession for him. That was the most for Joe on the season for unguarded points, unguarded catch and shoot points.
And did it with a leg that looked like a pirate.
Especially late. He was cramped.
That one leg, he was a pirate.
Yeah.
Like he was like this, Hop. His leg he wouldn't move. It was just like he was like, remember Festus, Gunsmoke?
Sure.
Festus could walk better than Yesufu was walking at the end. At one time, he came out from the tunnel and he literally couldn't bend his leg. It was just like a 2x4. He's just dragging it along with him.
Yeah, and so one of those open looks came to our right in front of the West Virginia bench in the corner with about 4 minutes and change to go. That I thought it didn't seal the game. You were fine, but they were making a little bit of a push. It was getting tight in there, and he just said, "I'll handle it." Boom, bang, game. You feel like you're good.
Yeah.
So he was really good there. He's 48% from 3 when left unguarded on catch and shoots. So that's part of why when he gets those and knocks them in, generally good things happen. That's top 20% in the nation, points per shot.
With him, I see a guy that has played a lot of basketball.
Yeah.
There's a fearlessness to his game that only comes by playing, I think the other day was 144.
Mm-hmm, it was.
144th game. Right? That's a lot of basketball games. And I think you only get the way that he gets because he's done it so much. He's fearless. Not the big guy, but he will take the ball right to the rim. And in a catch and shoot situation, doesn't have any tendencies to like, should I not? No, but that bad boy's going. And so that is the kind of guy you need, man. You need nut cutters, and he's a nut cutter.
In that role. And he's a guy that can put the ball, as you just mentioned, on the floor and get in there. And at times, West Virginia's offense needs that because defenses know they like to shoot the three and they overextend. And how many times did we say that the other night? TCU kept coming out and pushing out and pushing out. And they were very good early defensively, I thought. And they were very aggressive. And that started to open up some of those back cuts and that movement. And then they went to zone, and you have to carve it up. Joe's able to do that. He has the ability off the bounce.
Yeah.
Speaking of ability off the bounce, I mentioned earlier, TCU just struggled to contain Javon. A team leading 16 shots, a team leading 11 three-pointers. You let him get loose for team leading shots and threes, you're probably not winning that game. And TCU did not.
He had the shoulders going.
Yeah, he was shimmying.
He had the shoulders
He was
going.
shimmying you, Hop.
When he shimmies, it's a good night. When he shimmies, is like ball game.
He gave one, Hop. He gave one. He's out at the top of the key, and 2 defenders are trying to close to trap, and he took it. A normal, if you're watching, between the legs dribble, the ball's in front of you, and you dribble it to your back and take it with your other hand, and then you go.
Right.
He had it on the side behind him and dribbled it between his legs forward, took it, and exploded into the lane.
He didn't send it back. He just took it out.
Took it forward. Just going to push my momentum forward and go behind. I'm just gone. He put everybody in a blender. Everybody they tried to put on him just said, "No, can't guard me."
You like that when he does that?
I absolutely get giddy when he gets out there and he sees the matchup and he kind of pulls it back and like says he doesn't do it, but I just want him to come on right out here with me.
Well, he's going to get a little.
He's got problems.
He's going to get a little bit of it here coming to Utah.
Well, they're going to be in his shorts.
Oh, they're going to absolutely just put a hit list out on him.
It'll be face guarding again.
Oh yeah.
Here's one. I don't know that I've used this stat.
Oh, it's something
this season, but this was part of where West Virginia won the game. I thought we mentioned they picked their spots. West Virginia is so good and so calculating with controlling the pace. The other night they pushed it a little more than they have. Meaning when they had an opportunity to get to the other end of the floor, they did. And I'll get into that with Sincere Harris because I thought he really sparked and turned the game around after those first couple minutes when he was doing this. But as a team, West Virginia I thought was pretty aggressive. 1.4 points per possession off missed shots by TCU. That's pretty good. I just said 1.1 leads the country if you did it for a season. 1.4 points per possession off the missed shots, 7 of 14 from 3. So West Virginia feasted off of 3, off of their missed shots, and that's part of why, guys, Darren always talks about rebounding, right? That's what he's talking about there. Get the rebound so that they can outlet and transition before you can set up your half-court defense. And what you're trying to do there, guys, we mention it all the times. How do you find some, quote, easy points within a game? Some of it's free throw line, but this West Virginia team doesn't get to the line very often. Some of it comes off points off turnovers, which West Virginia's been very good at. But if you've got to set up in your half-court offense and simply be efficient offensively for more than anything else, that makes it really hard on the offense. So this is one area. Miss shot, get the defensive rebound, don't allow them to get it and put it back in, and then get out before the defense sets up. West Virginia killed TCU in that category.
Yeah. Absolutely. Those are good numbers.
Not done.
Yeah. Oh,
we're still on TCU?
Yeah. I've got West Virginia, 12-3 now, making 9 or more threes. I think they're 12-3 on the season when they do that. Let's flip over to defense real quick, and probably shouldn't be real quick on defense because really that was the ultimate key. But you hold them to 21% from three. West Virginia's now up to 7th nationally in three-point field goal percentage, 14th overall defensive efficiency, which, how about this league? 14th overall nationally is West Virginia. It's still 4th in the Big 12. This is like the old Big East when it comes to that. Physical, hard, grinding, really tough defensive teams. The game changer here, though, you were excellent in the first half and you got that lead, and you still stepped on their throat in the second half, held them to 37% in the second half. That was really good.
wasn't there, do I have this number right, that they held TCU scoreless for 8 minutes in the first half?
Is that what it was on that 18-0 run? It was 8 minutes?
I think that's correct.
8 minutes? I mean, how hard is that?
What are you doing over there? Eating M&Ms?
Mm-hmm. Never ate today. Hey, who are the other three teams on top of West Virginia defensively in the Big 12?
Houston 3, Kansas 5, Iowa State 11.
How about Kansas 5?
I know. That surprised me that it was still that number.
Do you have the whole Big 12 in front of you?
I can get it.
What's BYU and Utah?
BYU's not, their defense does not frighten you. It's their ridiculous offense. I'll have to come back to
Their
this.
offense is absolutely
I got it.
just unbelievable right now.
Okay, what'd you ask me? Conference defense?
Yeah, where's BYU?
Overall defensive?
Yeah, BYU and Utah's.
BYU 71st nationally.
Still good.
Oh, yeah. Still good, but not like the elites at those other. What'd you ask? Utah? 74th nationally. But Utah's offense, 12th nationally. So that's what's going to concern you there when we get into that preview.
If there wasn't a shot clock, that'd be a good game. Go up to BYU and just take that air out.
Yeah. You're still going to try. I mean, you're going to bleed clock there if you can, right? Want to give them, this is like a football breakdown, Hoppy. You want to give them as few possessions as possible. You're going to try and run the ball successfully against the Cougars.
Limit possessions.
Don't throw an interception. You should be in good shape.
On the coin toss, take the ball on the coin toss.
Out-rebounded TCU. West Virginia remains undefeated on the season when it out-rebounds the opponent. So that was good. Only 7 second-chance points for TCU. Because with a Jamie Dixon team, just like his old Pitt teams, they're very good on the offensive glass, and West Virginia just limited that. Let's talk about two guys first before we dive into BYU, and we'll put a wrap here on TCU from a number standpoint. Let's look at Sincere for just a second. I just thought, guys, he is a couple things. The defense continues to be elite, especially when he's on ball. But then now what is coming along with him the last couple games, his offensive game now, he can be a problem for opponents. And he was the other night. He was in transition and taking it to the basket and finishing. He had the one turnaround when he got inside on the zone, and you attacked it, and he turns and hits a turnaround on you.
Little turnaround in the lane.
Awesome.
Off the lane.
I mean, put him in a spot where he can help you. He's good at the free throw line. But what he did to those guards, where neither one of them wanted to bring the ball up, right, because of his pressure, and he's just on you all night, and he's not going anywhere. To hold Noah Reynolds for them, who is a really talented basketball player and was excellent down in Fort Worth, to hold him to 0 field goals, and he didn't score until late when he hit a couple free throws. He was in some foul trouble. Some of that was due to West Virginia. He couldn't score. He didn't have a field goal.
Yeah, they had 42 points from their guards in Fort Worth. They had 10 in Morgantown.
Buck finishes 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals. Another game with more steals than turnovers. That's his 15th game this season with 2 or more steals. West Virginia's 10-5 in those games.
He seemed to be enjoying himself.
Yeah, because he's playing really well.
I mean, he was when he came out of the game, he was looking up and into the crowd. He seemed to be having a fun time, and hopefully that'll continue.
couple other numbers for Buck. That's his 7th game with 2 or more blocks. You're 6-1 in those games.
Paulette thought he had him that one time, took him down the left side lane line, said, I'm just going to score over you. And Buck said, no, actually, no.
He gets a lot of those. You think you got to step on him, he comes behind you. West Virginia's 5-0 when he has 2 or more blocks and steals. Okay, here's some numbers. You ready? In 2017, Javon Carter, 4.4% steal rate. So the number of steals that he had when he was on the floor, right, divided by the possessions, 4.4, which, to put that in perspective, it's really good. There's a reason some awards came his way. That was 12th nationally out of 2,163 players. Really good. 2018, Javon had a 4.8% steal rate, 6th nationally out of 21 players. Sincere sits right now, 3.5% steal rate. Not far off from a guy that was a 2-time defensive player of the year that had some freedom in that defense to run and jump, and it was predicated upon Javon getting some steals. This is a guy doing it basically one up on one guy, and he's only within 1% of his steal rate. Shows you what kind of season he's having defensively.
Yeah, it's very good.
Javon was 6th nationally in steal rate. Think about that.
Yeah, I mean, remember recently we went back and looked at his numbers, you kind of forget. You think he was all defense, but he, like, at the end of his career, senior year, like, he was really
much
good
better offensive, no question. All right, one more, because I thought KJ Tenner made a huge difference in the game.
He did.
He had 3 steals. If I told Tony after the game, Hoppy, if you had told me he had 13 steals, I would have bought it. His hands were in on everything, and Darren referenced this in the postgame. The plus-minus number you can kind of pick apart at times, but it's a good just overall look. Plus 14 in, 11 minutes of game action? That's really hard to do. So he was really good. Mention KJ Tenner. Anyway, and had two floaters as well that were badly needed. If he comes in and is hitting a couple floaters on you and you've got to count for him offensively, great night by KJ.
Do you think he knows he can use the other hand?
What, when he floats?
Yeah, do you think like he doesn't put the left hand up on that ball when he goes anytime inside the paint.
Good.
It's a floater.
You're right-handed. Shoot it with your right hand.
Just old school.
Yeah, just shoot it with your right hand.
George McGinnis.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a layup. It's a shot.
He could, they call it a dig when you go down and help out. If they're trying to post someone up, like Uday the other day, they're trying to post him up. The guard, as quickly as possible, gets back in there and tries to dig the ball out, root the ball out, digs. And he did an exceptional job at that. Because he's so small, right? He can kind of get in there and go lower, and he scraped out a couple of them, and those were big, big plays.
He also did a great job when people would put the ball on the floor driving, and he's backpedaling in front of them and giving you a swipe. I don't know if all 3 steals came that way. He had a couple like that where it was on ball swiping down, and it came loose. That's why he may not get credit for as many steals as he probably created because he was swiping down and getting that ball.
Yeah. That's why we're going to go ahead and officially name KJ Tenner as our Tudor's Biscuit World Player of the Game.
We were?
What do you think? I think so. Why?
Sure. I mean,
Javon doubled.
Well, I understand that, but I got to get the spot in anyway. Tudor's he filled up his plate is what KJ Tenner did. He filled up his plate, and so can you if you go to Tudor's Biscuit World. This is my favorite special that we've gotten from these folks. You buy one item at regular price, and then you can get a second item for just $1. So you can go in there, get a Dottie, get a sausage biscuit, a Peppy, or the hash brown for just an additional $1. I mean, what more do you want in today's world? You buy one, you get one for $1 at Tudor's Biscuit World. Check them out. They're just tremendous. And again, as I'm saying, some people are saying they could eat 3 of them. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
When the season's over, we might have to bring a couple in here and just do it. What do you think?
No, that's...
What do you think?
I don't
just
know. I want to
enjoy
be on
one.
it. Yeah, just go enjoy one.
Just
I don't want to be on air.
You're saying one?
I don't want to be on air when I'm.
It's not a competition. Just get a biscuit and enjoy the biscuit.
Hop.
Okay.
Rich Rod's back. Everything's a competition. He said if they're keeping score, we could probably talk Rich into going eating biscuits. As Rich said the other day, you were at the press conference there. He said, hell, if they're keeping score, he said we're going to compete. So if it's Tudor's Biscuits, we might just do the same thing. See how many we can eat.
Well, we're not keeping score. Are
we
we?
can.
I mean,
we can. Keep
all right,
Tudor's.
you guys do it. I'm not. Look,
you're not playing.
If
I know.
we do it together,
yeah. I'm
eating one and enjoying it.
Imagine that.
Reasonable and balanced.
That's all they give him in the home is one anyway. And so we move to BYU, hottest team in the league.
Blender.
They've won 5 in a row, and the problem with them is They've got shooters all over the floor. And then they come out and they'll bring more shooters off of their bench. And the Catchings kid, that's Tamika Catchings' nephew.
He was good here.
He's really good. They say he's a pro.
Yeah, 5-star kid. 5 in a row, as you mentioned, 9 of 11. Only losses were at home this season are to Texas Tech and Arizona. They dropped 17 threes on Arizona State last night on the road. Hello. We'll get to Saunders. He is blistering hot. Big 12 Player of the Week.
Scares the hell out of me.
He
scares me.
Javon was awesome against him defensively. We haven't talked about Javon's defense, probably an underrated part of his game. He was excellent against him offensively here. It's part of why I was bummed out you didn't get that win. You held him in check, and not many teams are able to hold him in check, and you didn't get the win. So this is going to be a real challenge. Here's what jumped to me, though, as I was doing some splits with them. BYU's offensive rating is about the same home or away. Doesn't matter where they play. They're going to put up points, and they're going to shoot threes, and they're going to make a lot of threes. But how about this, guys? Their defensive rating is significantly better at home. If you go by points per 100 possessions, they're in the 4th percentile nationally on the road defensively. The season ended today, 4th percentile defense. You saw that here in West Virginia. How many times during the game, Tony, did I keep saying, West Virginia's getting any shot it wants here. It's doing whatever it wants offensively. BYU's not putting up a fight at all. West Virginia can score here. The home deal, it's a different deal. 99th percentile at home with their defensive rating.
That's weird.
Talk about a gap.
Because of
4 to 99. Yeah, the crowd helps a ton. There's no question.
Crowd's crazy there, man.
No question. And what those numbers lead you to, our guy Evan Mia at Evan Miyakawa at evanmia.com, evanmiya.com, he lists BYU, if they were to play all their games at home, 5th nationally, 5th best team in the country, if you play at home. He has them for almost a 5-point home court advantage when you play there. So you're walking into a really difficult environment. But again, you've done that before. You walked into Kansas, which was a difficult environment. But what concerns me about BYU, they're blistering hot right now. That'll be the biggest challenge with them. Demon, the point guard. We talked a lot about him on the last show, and it was a tale of two halves. Sincere got the better of him in the first half here to the point Kevin Young had to take Demon out of the game because he had like 3 turnovers in the first 2 minutes. They took him out of the game for a big 7-minute stretch. In the second half, he came back in and was probably the overriding factor in that game. Really talented, really skilled. Here's what he did in Morgantown, though, that you've got to try and reverse. He takes nearly 50% of his shots from three-point land in Big 12 play, and he's not shooting it well, just a 21% three-point shooter. But against West Virginia, 8 of his 12 shots were from 2. He went to the basket, and that's a challenge with a 6'9" guy. West Virginia doesn't have a lot of guys outside of Buck. You start to put Joe or KJ on him, and you've got a massive height advantage there when Demon's in the game. So I thought in the second half, he did a great job. Kevin Young, BYU's coach, they did a great job of attacking West Virginia inside and having Demon lead that charge.
Yeah. Saturday night is going to be all about how can you hold on against this crowd. They pack it. It's 20, right? They put 20 in there?
18.
18,000 people, every seat sold, and it will be just electric. And so your job as a team is to try to diffuse that electricity. And once they get rolling on you, it can become a long night. And a lot of teams have had that happen to them. So that's going to be the 6th obstacle. There's 5 players, and that's the 6th obstacle is the incredible energy in that building.
You've got to stop the penetration. They'll want to drive, finish if they can, as Demon did in the second half, but ultimately they want to kick it back out for 3. West Virginia, for the bulk of the game here, did a really good job on that. They contained penetration and were able to close out and get that stick, that close, and not allow them to go crazy from 3. That's where it's going to come down to, though. Both these teams shoot nearly half their shots from 3. BYU has made 10 or more in 18 games this season. In fact, they average over that. West Virginia's defense has allowed an opponent to make 10 or more just 3 times. West Virginia's three-point defense, 7th nationally, going against BYU, number 2 in the Big 12 in three-point percentage, even better at home. So to me, it comes down to can you control Demon, number 1. And again, in the game here, how about this, guys? He's only had 2 games all season where he has more turnovers than assists. One of them was here, and they won. The other one was against Ole Miss when they lost. So you got that almost where you wanted it in the first half, but he took over a little bit. He had, I think, 10 assists last night against Arizona State. So you got to watch him, and then whichever team can make it from 3. And West Virginia's going to have to find a way to do that without Javon Small early, because you mentioned it. I would assume they're going to face guard him again and try and take him out and say if the rest of the guys can beat us on the road, so be it. So other guys are going to have to make some shots.
Yes. Stand up. Can't put your little boy pants on. Got to put your big boy pants on. Got to put your big boy pants on Saturday. West Virginia and BYU. 10 o'clock back here it starts?
Correct.
10 o'clock here.
Right? Or 9 o'clock? Yeah, 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock there, and then next week, Tuesday, Utah's 9. So West Virginia's playing a bunch of late games. And we went 9 against TCU, 10 o'clock BYU, and then 9 against the Utahs. And then next Saturday, close the regular season, 5 o'clock against the UCFs.
Go get them. Big road trip. Can you split? Can you get one? That'd be a successful road trip. If you can get 2, it'd be awesome. If you can get 1, then come home, take your run at UCF.
Yeah, 3 to go. 3 guys before the game. Textual Healing is coming up. But first, this note from our friends at Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. If you or someone that you know is in need of help when it comes to filing a Social Security claim, this is what they do day in and day out. Think about it. If you have paid into the Social Security system through your working days and suffer a life-changing situation, in other words, a heart attack, back issues, deals that do not allow you to get back to work, even though you'd love to get back to work and you need help with Social Security, here's the thing. Go to and get services from Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law before you try to file a situation with Social Security. Why? Because only 12% get approval the first time if you do it by yourself, right? Which means that 88% get rejected the first time through. So go to them, and they will become that person that will guide you through the system. Why? Because they do it every single day, and they do it literally across the state and our country. Their people are trained in this world of filing Social Security claims. So if you or someone that you know is in need of assistance in filing a Social Security claim, go to Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law. That's Jan Dill's Attorneys at Law if you need help when it comes to filing a Social Security claim. Check them out. They do it every single day, based right here in the state of West Virginia, but helping people literally across the United States of America. Oh my. Time for Textual Healing. It is brought to us by episode800.com. On episode800.com, we have all of our stuff, our apparel, our food, stuff.
Coffee.
We do everything we possibly can to get our stuff to you as we promise. Recently had a situation during Valentine's where we had an order and it got discombobulated in the mail. But we made it good. Why? Because our guy Dave said, hey, you got a situation. So this came from Tony, and he's out there in New Mexico. And Nevada. Genoa, Nevada. Here's what happened. Tony writes in, Jackie did receive the popcorn on Monday. We missed Valentine's Day by a few days. And she sent us this picture. So this is Jackie. That's her. Look at that view from their home there.
Oh, beautiful.
In Nevada. She loves the popcorn. I suspect she'll be purchasing more in the future. Pass along our thanks to the guys for the video clip, because we sent her a video to apologize, and basically we said that it was Hoppy's fault. I remind Hoppy that I'm the petroleum engineer that has traveled a good bit that he spoke with at the Iowa State Food Court. Yeah, you remember him, Hop.
Yeah.
Pictures in their backyard in Nevada. That's the background of the Sierra Nevadas. The lines coming down at the one peak are ski runs at Heavenly, a well-known resort. So, Jackie, Tony, delighted that we could help you with your popcorn situation. And next time we'll just fly out there and bring it to you.
Yeah, just put it in a seat in first class. And
from the
have home with Dave take it out.
from the text line, operational question for you guys. When you're scheduling the live broadcast, do you use Eastern Standard or the time zone work from home Hoppy happens to be in at the time? Whatever Hoppy tells us.
Well, we always operate in Eastern time zone, then adjust from there.
Always.
Yeah,
correct.
Always Eastern.
3 guys just wanted to share Mountaineer Popcorn's newest flavor. It's called Crabber Jacks. This could double as a rate my plate. I really haven't heard any concrete ratings on those, just anecdotal feedback, very broad yums. Let's do better. We need a 1 through 10 rating from now on, or 1-800 anyway, that's now. 2 seafood-flavored popcorns that ironically offer under the season's best seafood sign. And if this is anywhere close to Krabby Caramel, it is divine. So they got Crabber Jacks over at Mountaineer Popcorn. That would be interesting.
Yeah, would that be good?
No, I think if they're saying it's Sarah, this is Sarah in the Eastern panel, she says it's good. It's good.
It's good? Okay.
I said that in the last show. You could have a seafood flavored, have a shrimp flavor.
Yeah.
You just get seafood seasoning, right?
Yeah, bay seasoning, something.
Bay seasoning.
Old Bay.
Any update on the sign controversy, by the way?
March 4th is the variance hearing.
Okay.
But that's great work offering a seafood popcorn under the sign that says best seafood. Very well done.
Yeah.
Well, listen, if they're making it, it probably is good. I mean, they don't have anything that's not good.
I've not tasted one thing. How about that buffalo chicken wing, the flavor they had?
Oh, I didn't try that. Did you try that?
Oh, yeah. It was really good.
It was good?
Wes in Lake Wiley, South Carolina. There's always a connection from West Virginia. This just happened. I met an older gentleman in our church a while back that's originally from Moundsville. He comes to visit me at home because I have been battling cancer and not been able to make it to church. He loves to bring me gifts. He asked me for my hat size, so I thought he'd bring me a nice fitted WVU cap. And instead, this is what I got. Brought him a coonskin cap.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. So
Who's this from?
this is from
Wes.
Wes in Lake Wiley, South Carolina.
Good work, Wes. Keep battling.
You keep battling there, sir, and we wish you guys the very, very best.
Wow.
This is an interesting one. I didn't caught this when it happened. At the 1 hour, 9 minute, 28 second mark of your last podcast, Hoppy was able to sneak in the use of a hanky when you other 2 guys were not looking.
Excuse me?
There it is on screen. As a hanky
Did it just
user
again.
myself, to my wife's sometimes displeasure, I understand we have to sneak those uses in when we can, especially when in a restaurant. Way to go, Got a big old cloth in your face.
Screen grab it. What are we doing?
And in the spirit of synchronicity, I was doing it at the same time that you read that.
Camera's on, Hop. Quit jacking around.
I know.
Just
do you
put
want
it-
that, or do
just
you want
blow
a
your
dripping
nose.
I'll
Gentlemen.
tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not eating chocolate during the program. Okay.
Hey, guess what? You don't work here anymore, but you just had your little attitude of when you used to yell at work. I don't eat chocolate when I'm at work. Let me ask you this, since we're talking about it.
Yeah.
How bummed out would you get when I would go into your office and just get a big loogie and spit in your garbage can? Did that bum you out or what?
Why would you do
Brad,
that? Why would he do that?
Dude, he was absolutely
He should be bummed out. Of course he was.
He would just absolutely go crazy.
You should.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Toughen up.
How about if I just go take a leak on your lawn? How do you like that? Drive over there tonight.
I could use the fertilizer. It's time.
No.
I could use
Okay,
fertilizer.
please get back on track because I really fear the path we're headed on.
Gentlemen, I was listening
But
to
I'll just say this. Be aware. keep those outdoor cameras rolling.
Gentlemen, I was listening to your last show, searching for a place to eat in the Suncrest Star City area. You mentioned Tudor, so I stopped in. My first visit.
There we go.
Good food. During the last couple shows, I've heard discussions on DeVries' emotional demeanor, lack of technicals. Comments remind me of Neil Brown's first few years. I heard comments about him being too laid back in a sideline press conferences. I think our generation is used to the coaches we had, very animated, and we're known to fly off the handle when it really mattered. I can still hear one of my coaches yelling, "Get your ass in gear," over and over. Yeah,
I would not call DeVries laid back.
Correct. I was just going to say, I think the phrase in quotes, "get your ass in gear," has probably been uttered in certain forms a lot this season.
He talks a lot without saying anything.
He does talk a lot without saying anything. Message
What do you mean?
sent.
He talks a lot without saying anything. Just his countenance, like when he engaged, like He gives you the eyes. He gives you the eyes.
Practice in games laid back is not the proper descriptor.
I think it's fascinating. We should just have a DeVries cam during the game because he is so engaged. And Brad, I think you said he does not take plays off.
No.
I mean, he is completely
he isn't
focused.
You know what I like about it though? It really is. It's genuine when he does it. There have been a lot of coaches over our times in this business that are the artificial pump the crowd up cheerleader type. He is not when he's doing it.
He's engaged.
He's truly one of those guys. If he was able physically and could put the uniform on, he would just as soon go out and do it as he would coach.
Wow.
And that comes through.
Don't bring that up.
And again, he was one of the first ones on the court on the timeout when Andre grabbed the ball.
But don't bring him up playing.
Well,
he had a situation.
Well, he didn't. But friend of the program, our guy Kyle out in West Des Moines.
Darren's really good buddy Kyle was in with his son, and so they were playing 2-on-2, and Darren and his buddy were playing against the kids, and, well, Darren's buddy ruptured his Achilles.
Ooh, well, yeah.
Darren said he wouldn't have ruptured it if he would have just passed him the ball. Darren said, I'm sitting there open. He had to try to make a play, and he popped his Achilles.
I mean, typical Darren. He doesn't deal with injuries. Poor buddy Kyle's got a blown Achilles, and Darren's still screaming at him to give him the ball.
No excuses.
2-on-2 game. No excuses.
No excuses.
Kyle was a gamer, showed up at the game in a boot, handled it, got the win.
He's out of Des Moines.
Yeah, West Des Moines.
Yeah, West Des Moines. He's going to go get surgery now, but he'll be at the Big 12 tournament.
So we hope Kyle keeps battling.
We got to see, now we're getting ready for the second season and how this whole thing plays out. But I was thinking that when you just in the future, 10 years from now or 15 years from now, when people look back at the records and look back at the season, it just doesn't. You just look at the wins and losses. There should be an asterisk next to this and have a little explanation as to what happened
that's
this
a
year.
fair point.
Because
fair point. Mike and Myrtle writes, Pat White turned 39 on Tuesday. Anyone feel old? Yes. Scott writes, love the show. Huge win. Baseball, now 8-0. Tony, I had no idea of your talents. I found this book in the WV Ruby Memorial gift shop, and I had to pick it up for my grandson. There's my book. Let me tell you something. Buddy, you're as surprised as I am. That thing has been out of print for like at least 3 or 4 years, and he said the Ruby still has it.
it makes it more valuable. It's an original.
Isn't that kind of neat? I thought that you stunned me. I think
first edition.
Yeah, that's it. There it is, like autographed and everything.
Oh, an autograph.
Yeah. Great day to be Hoppy Kercheval, wherever you may be. All right, here we go. Unbelievable night. Energy from Darren was absolutely contagious. Amazing seats directly behind the basket. Got to hear the cheerleaders, could hear their pom-poms. Top it all off, I got to meet 2 of the 3 guys. Really can't tell you how much it means to me. You guys have been the voice of every Mountaineer moment. Anxious. I don't even think I properly introduced my wife, Emily. Oops. Nonetheless, my wife and I absolutely will be there to watch us beat UCF. We're going to bring the whole family and some friends to that one. Maybe I can find a way to sneak in some Mountaineer popcorn and some Reese's. Absolutely. Anyway, great to finally meet you guys and see you in March, baby. Seth from Charlestown. That's him in the middle.
Yeah, good to see Seth.
He went old school Jerry West jersey there. Our pleasure to meet you. And
Emily, of
Emily
course.
was very nice.
Thank you, guys.
Texter, day one listener. I'm curious why TC gave up the hello shtick. Tony, please dig in the box. Bring this gimmick back. Paul from Clarksburg. I don't know why I stopped doing that.
Put your vocal cords in
Yeah,
jeopardy,
probably,
didn't it?
probably don't need it. My throat probably doesn't need it. Great win Tuesday. We look like a tourney team. Also, I could eat 3 of them Tudor's biscuits. Once ate a 2. Oh, how about this? He says, I once ate a 2 dozen egg omelet loaded with everything in the kitchen.
Oh, my.
Then he ends it with rough night.
How big was that thing? 2 dozen eggs?
6 is the most I've ever done. My man went 24.
Whoa.
Good Lord.
Can't do that now. It'd cost you $47,000.
Exactly. You have to get a loan.
This is wild. I did this yesterday. My wife and I had the opportunity today to tell the story of our miracle twin boys for WVU Children's Hospital. Sawyer and Mason are micro preemies that were born at 23 weeks. The incredible doctors, nurses, and support staff at Ruby are the reason why they are still here today and thriving 5-year-olds. We were a bit nervous to do an interview But lo and behold, who do we see when we got off the elevator? Tony himself, taking time to let us showcase our dudes. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. Let's hope the Mountaineers can have a miracle March of their own. Let's go. And have my picture made. So, Hoppy, those folks there were at the Speakeasy. That's Lawman from Fairmont.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you Hoppy talked to him,
and his
too.
lovely
Yep.
wife. Now, let me tell you about those two little dudes, Sawyer and Mason. So, as they said, they were micro-preemies born 5 years ago at the hospital. So they were born at 23 weeks, and the dad told me that they were as big as a cell phone. Mm-hmm. That's how they were. And they were in NICU for 106 days. And when you have that happen, I had no idea, but they have to give you so much oxygen when you're that size to get your lungs going that it impacts your vision because the nerve gets too much oxygen. So they have this incredible procedure that they do at WVU to maintain their eyesight because they very well could have gone blind. And at that time, it was an experimental drug that they tried on them. And that drug has since, because of that test, received FDA approval, and now it is available nationwide. And they wouldn't see had they not done that type of medication at that time 5 years ago. And then they went in there with a special laser that they have on one little guy, and that's how they can see.
Awesome.
It's remarkable.
And that's
pretty cool.
It's an amazing story, and that kind of stuff goes on every single day inside that hospital, and we're amazingly lucky to have that kind of care.
So it was fun you got to see them.
Yes, it was.
That family.
Yes, it was.
Is that the family dog there?
Where?
Is it?
That's Tony's backpack. He didn't move
My
it out
backpack.
of the picture.
I didn't take the backpack out. Yeah, although
I thought it was a dog.
No, it does. Probably looks like a.
Does look like a black lab just
Yeah,
sitting
it's
there.
like a dab.
It
Yeah,
does.
it's my
Yeah.
backpack. Guys, question might seem a bit in the weeds. Why does the conference not balance weekend, weekday home game totals? Weekend games are always higher attended, gives you a better advantage. West Virginia, one of two teams or a couple of teams with only 4 weekend home games. Double whammy is that you end up with an additional disadvantage of having 6 weekend road games. Most teams get 5-5 as it should be. West Virginia's on the short end. A couple of teams actually get 6 home, 4 on the road weekend. I know a computer makes the schedule and could handle one more parameter. It's more fair this way. My guess, Charles, is that they're probably notified, hey, you're getting screwed this year. Next year, it'll come back around. That's how they'll try to balance that out. So I think that will change, and probably mathematically it's impossible to do it for every team, right?
I would think you're right there.
Yeah.
I've not checked at that.
Joe from Barbersville, the question for Brad. What is West Virginia against the over-under this year? Seems like we never hit the over recently. Is it Vegas? Our offense, our defense always keeps us from reaching the number? Asking for a friend, smiley emoji. FYI, I've taken the over the last 6 games.
Oh. Yeah, this is definitely – West Virginia fits the profile of an under team, and it's all of those. It's the offense, they want to slow it down. They're going to control pace. West Virginia, one of the slowest teams in the country because it's trying to limit possessions, and West Virginia is a great defensive team, so that's a recipe for an under. West Virginia 8-19-1 to the over this year, 8-19-1.
You're saying it's 8-19-1
to the over. Yes.
All right. Keep this in mind as we travel. You know, we're getting ready for travel season, right? Travel season, kind of big season. The unbelievable folks at Gomart. You know, the more I hear about this Gomart app, like you're making a mistake if you don't get the Gomart app.
Mm-hmm. Just used it yesterday.
What'd you do?
Gas.
You did gas.
So you just put your number in there, and you get 3 cents off every gallon of gas.
And that's at a minimum.
And then I get reward points. Yeah, that's minimum. If you play the game, you get 20 cents off.
Yeah. How about this one? March 7th coming up. Kathleen Madigan, comedian, coming to Morgantown. You can open up the Gomart app, enter, and get a chance to win tickets. While you're there, you can explore the latest win and go giveaways. New tickets. They're doing a lot of this promotional stuff with these concerts, Charleston, Morgantown, all over. New tickets always available and up for grabs. Something exciting. Another reason to download that Gomart app. So do check it out.
It is
and
easy to
save, and it's instantaneously. That one where you just play you play the new video game that they have on there, the new game. You save 20 cents off per gallon when you play the game for the first time.
That's right there.
Right?
It's right at the top. It's very easy to find.
Tiki Solitaire. 20 cents off a gallon. Just play it once.
Oh, Reese's are back.
How much?
Buy 2, get 1 free. The big packs. Eggs.
There we go.
The eggs.
There we go.
Yes. Texter, enough of the crazy sports talk, Tony. We need your Chicago beef sandwich recipe. signed by Dana in Eleanor. Actually, my buddy Johnny Angotti made the Chicago beef. He brought it over to the house. I just warmed it, but it was stupendously good. He puts about everything in there except the kitchen sink. I'll find out.
You didn't take a picture? You should
No.
take pictures.
It was really good. Last one. I wanted to share this delicious plate of mussels for Rate My Plate. These are black mussels steamed in white wine, butter, olive oil, onion, cherry tomatoes, and garlic, served over angel hair pasta with broth from the mussels and crusty garlic bread.
That's nice.
That's like you could put that in an art museum.
Yeah.
That is absolutely perfect. I love mussels. Mussels are good.
Yeah, I do too. Which is, there are carriers for garlic and butter and wine sauce.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
By the way, we had another interaction with John Lucas, our M&M mule, at the game the other day. he just came in and just dumped again. Plus, he gave us these Werther coffee things. They were
Hard
really,
candies.
yeah, they were really good.
They were really good.
John's our guy.
Can I give you a couple nuggets before we sign off?
Yeah, nugget us.
Yeah. Well, first of all, WVU women's team, after a disappointing loss at TCU, come back and they beat Utah like they stole something. And J.J. Quinley, Brad, a measly 38.
Yeah. Not a bad way. Not a bad way to finish up the home season,
Finish
career.
up. And West Virginia, you lose track. West Virginia finishes the home season undefeated.
Pretty
Fourth
wild.
time, fourth time ever.
Pretty wild.
So finishes the home season undefeated. Quinley just lit it up. They destroy Utah. Second thing is we need to note the passing of Gene Hackman at age 95. He and his wife and the family dog died. They don't suspect suspicious circumstances, but they all three were found dead in their home in New Mexico. But Hackman, a great actor, and of course, played Coach Norman Dale in one of the great sports movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
Hoosiers. So
You're on it,
FYI.
Hoppy. I mean, I'll tell you what. He don't miss a beat, does he? How about the Mountaineer baseballers? 8-0 under first-year coach Steve Sabins. They're rolling along.
Nice.
And they got 3 coming up here in the state of North Carolina up next. So wish those guys continued success. Okay, so next week it's weird. We probably aren't doing anything until next Thursday because we're on the road in Utah unless I figure something out. I do have an idea. It might work, might not work. It might look different. We'll talk about it. We'll see. You available, Hopster?
I'm not available because of this security bracelet I have. I'm not available until Thursday of next week.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we might not just do one then, or we might do one. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll figure it out. Just subscribe. Subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on Apple, wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, you guys, have a great road trip. This is a huge road trip. Like you said, can you split? But this will be a fascinating trip for the Mountaineers with a couple of tough, newish opponents. So,
Agree.
Good luck.
Couldn't ask for anything more.
You're right there.
Couldn't
You're
ask
right
for
there.
anything more. Let's do this thing. All right, thanks for being with us. 3 guys before the game brought to us by Jan Dills, attorneys at law. They won't take no for an answer. By Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Gomart. Get a Gomart rewards card. Go to gomart.com for details. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By Tudor's Biscuit World. Start your day the homemade way with a Tudor's Biscuit. And by Conley CPA Group, providing value beyond numbers. Special thanks to our producer, Mr. Jake. His name is Jake Tricaster. Did not know that. That was his legal name. He's changed his name. There you go. Hoppy's wiping his nose, which means we're wiping out of here. See you.